So, hi everybody. I have chosen, or this slide deck actually has a title of How Task and Custom Monitoring Get You More from SCOM. But actually what it is more a taking out from real life environment. So from real life, where we use SCOM, of course, for monitoring workloads, which are mostly based on Windows servers, but also for automation. And yeah, presently I work as an infrastructure architect, but still, if time allows, I like to touch the environment and yeah, spend some time with SCOM. So about me, I'm around 40. I'm living in Germany and working as an IT pro for about 16 years. I work for a mid-sized company and I'm passionate about automation and monitoring. For whatever reason, SCOM caught me and it doesn't let me go, even though Azure is there and it's also quite interesting. Skill SCOM is very appealing to me and still attracts me a lot. So in the coming slides, I will start firstly with measures that help you to come along with filling disks. Afterwards, I will proceed with monitoring of Apache and Tomcat servers, which we are having on Windows servers. Seems that's not so common, but at least it's for us. And I will end my slide deck with making how I made SCOM a little bit more universal by enabling mail-in, so a mail interface. So let's go. So taming full disks. I can't explain really why, perhaps because our images are sized too small or because we are too greedy for disk space. The alert, the disk full alerts is our top alert source. So it happens frequently, and yeah, so we had to come up with some kind of automation to really reduce the recurrent burden of troubleshooting here. So let's start with the first problem. So usually when a disk alert is raising up, says, okay, disk is full, only whatever 5 GB left, we need to find the root cause. We need to find which kind of folder of files is the cause for the filling disk. So what usually happened then in the past that one of our colleagues or one guy just RDP to the server, please don't laugh at me, then a tool called tree size or something similar was started to check which folder is the responsible one. So you see, this was a bad example actually because the log file directories are pretty small, but usually they're big. Then it takes a lot of time until this tool finishes because it scans every file and whatever, maybe 5-10 minutes or so passed. At least it feels like that. And then some actions are taken. That means if it's related to logging, then either it will be tried to stop the logging or to change the log level, perhaps not to debug level, maybe just to error, or logs are deleted either just manually, just to make sure that the server does not crash within the next 2 minutes, or for sure later with the job, or logs are compressed because somebody comes up and says, hey, these logs are important, I need them for whatever site. And if this doesn't work at all, or if this is not enough, then the disk need to be extended. So what now? So this is a problem. How did we solve that? I hope you can see my screen. Let me move this slide to somewhere else. Okay, so solution is using diagnostic task in SCOM. So in SCOM, you can define diagnostic tasks as part of alerts that are raised by a monitor. So this screen here, for example, shows the Windows Server 2008 logic disk free space monitor properties. The tab is called Diagnostic and Recovery, and here you can define actions that are taken whenever the alert is raised. And so what as next step then, after clicking this one, the task wizard pops up, and here I defined a small PowerShell script which takes then the argument, which is in this case then the disk which is calling the disk full alert, and it will run this PowerShell script and determines which one is the causing folders, and it runs through the whole file system and gets all the information out of it. Let's see if I can quickly show how the PowerShell behind that looks like. Yeah, here we are. So good old Windows PowerShell ISE here. In the first 3 lines, I identified or specified, okay, to whom an email is sent that contains a report. Okay, I did not mention it yet, but now you hear it. So it's actually the action that has been taken after scanning the whole file system with a dir command, actually, because it came out that this one is the quickest way to run through a file system and to find out the directory sizes and file sizes. After this information has been prepared by a PowerShell function, then the email report or the HTML report is sent to an email recipient. I used just these few lines to make maintenance of this task easy, because I feel it. I got received that, or I got feedback from keeper that say, okay, it's difficult to use the built-in SCOM features for maintaining this kind of information. So just need to maintain the information here in the first few lines. Good. After this PowerShell script, so that you just can paste here, copy and paste here, and just need to modify then the recipient of this alert. Then every time then when this alert comes up, then this PowerShell script will run and you will receive an email. So this email then saves you time, because you do not need to RDP to the server, you do not need to run a tree size, you do not need to check which one is the folder with the largest directories, or which one is the folder with the biggest files. You get everything nicely prepared here. First step. Second step. So once we identified that there's the folder which is responsible for filling up the disks, and we have done our job, we have to have log files, for example, or yeah, but for mostly it's these are log files which are generating the alerts. We have to have these log files, and we need to set up some kind of mechanism to manage these log files. So again, what happens? We would RDP to the server, find a script, whatever command line PowerShell VB script, which deletes files after a certain age or compresses them. We copy the script to the server, we customize the directories and the file types, and then finally we use the task scheduler. So again, something that is reoccurring, that happens often. So again, something that can be automated. How? Again, we use SCOM. So we have created an agent task for that. Just name it create log deletion job. And so this one actually is it's based on, so like I already said, it's an agent task. So agent tasks are these guys. If you are in the SCOM console and take a look at the right side, I will show it to you in a minute. You see a lot of tasks that can be run on a machine, and these are actually quite powerful because you can create custom tasks. So this one, actually, what you see here now at the right side is one of these custom tasks that is that you can download for free later in the URL that I will share with you. So let's imagine there's one server here, with this cutted name here, which has the disk full, and you would then just create here on create log deletion job, and you have the wizard here coming up, and you can then via hitting the override button, you can customize, okay, where the scheduled task should be saved. I mean, the one that is then responsible for deleting the log files, which log file type it is that need to be handled, and also which log directory is, and also then, okay, how long you would like to keep the log files. I mean, after how many days you would like to delete the log files. So you just need to fill in a little bit of information, click on run, and after a few seconds, the job is created on the server. So all the steps that we did before manually happened then automatically. And the second task is about log compression. So if you say, okay, maybe these log files are important to us, we cannot just simply delete them, we have to store them, we have to archive them. So then there's a second task here that you can just use by yourself. It's again, you can, via override mechanism, you can say, okay, which file types, where the log directory is, and you define then, okay, perhaps how long time the log files can be there before they are compressed, and also how many days the compressed logs can be there until they'll be deleted. So that you have some kind of rotation inside of your logs. Poll time. So there should be soon a poll coming up on your screen that shows then if you are using agent tasks or not, and if you even use them for your as actions in your recoveries and diagnostics. Okay.
Ruben, do you want to just clarify the second question?
Sorry, the second one is actually not meant to come here now. So maybe we can just bringing the poll later on again. Okay, then please. Yeah, thank you. Good, wonderful. Yep, here's the polling result. I don't know if you can see that here, but anyway, I'm happy. Thank you so much for replying. And I'm coming to the third point of the managing the full disks. It's a combination of both, because first of all, we identified, okay, we found out which was the reason for all these filling disks, and we found, okay, mostly these are log files, and these one are generated from web servers. Secondly, we have then the agent tasks that are running, that can be launched manually to create the retention on the server. I mean, to create a log deletion job on the server. And finally, since it's mostly web servers which made the noise in our environment, we combined the forces. So yeah, just as an example, it happens halt frequently that developer, administrators, solution vendors, or even some users, they require the information that is written by the web server's logs. And it turned out that it's quite easily forgotten. I mean, it's easy to start the logging, to activate the logging, but to disable the logging, yeah, did not happen so often. So we had to do a lot of reacting job. I mean, just to launch the task, but it would be quite nice to have it automated. So finally, yeah, we created a custom management pack for this one. It's named Windows Server Web Service Log Directory Watcher. And yeah, it's authored via the SCOM Visual Studio authoring extensions that you can download for free. It uses a registry-based recovery jobs to find all the web servers. It scans for IIS, for Apache, for Tomcat, if they are installed on a Windows server, obviously, because it's registry-based recovery. Then there are unit monitors inside of the management pack, which checks the log directory sizes. You can define the threshold by yourself, of course. And once the threshold is met, then the task will be kicked off. I mean, the one that you just see before as an agent task, it will be here run automatically without having interaction. And then it will create the log deletion or log compression job. Yeah, and also there are a few rules that are in there that help to track the log directory growth. Not sure if you can read it. So this one just shows here the state of the IIS servers, for example. In the next screen, you see then the recovery tasks, which are enabled by default. So you disabled by default. So you need to enable them manually, just like you do usually with an override. And yeah, last and least, you have here also the performance rules, which are then collecting the log directory sizes so that you can see, okay, how quickly are these directories filling up and what kind of threshold is appropriate. Wonderful. Okay, second point, second part of the slide deck, monitoring Apache on Windows. As initially said, in our case, or in the company that I'm working for, there was a decision being made some years ago that due to strategic whatever, we decided, okay, we will only supporting Windows Server for our workloads. That means that there are also Apache and Tomcats running, Apache and Apache Tomcats running on Windows servers. We took a look and tried to find management pack for that one, but we only found these one which are for Linux or Unix machines. So nothing which were fitting in our environment. So finally, yeah, we created something ourselves. Yeah, so again, custom management pack, again with a Visual Studio authoring extension, just to close the gap of the missing management pack. Additionally, some version details have been added so that we do not, that we also have an overview where we have which kind of IIS version installed, how many Tomcats version 6 do we have, and even the minor release is also being maintained. Sometimes you cannot find this information because it's not exposed to in the registry. So I'm just referring the registry to get all this information. And then there are unit monitors within the management pack, which are then just monitoring or watching the process that is running from the that is running here from the web service. And before I forgot that, there are also some performance rules which are tracking basic KPIs. So let's take a look how that looks like. You see here at the left side, there's one window just popping up frequently. Let me try to close it. So we see at the left side here, that's for example for Apache Tomcat, we see the Windows servers where it's running on. I also added here the description. So this field is the one that you can get if you go to the Windows computer and you maintain the server purpose, right? Locally, you have then the description here so that you know, okay, what is actually this guy hosting the Windows server? Alternatively, it could be also a description from the Active Directory object that can be pulled out here. This management pack also monitors if you FTP, if you're running FTP on IIS, or if you're using a third-party FTP server from SolarWinds, for example. And here at the below window, you see then the KPIs, the key performance counters. Like, for example, there's a counter for the concurrent IP connections, for the memory that is being consumed, for the handle count, so that and also for the I/O, megabyte per second, so that you can spot also your busiest web servers or the ones which has the most visitors. Yeah, last slide in my slide deck. Emails to SCOM. So when we started to use SCOM in our environment, we were always asking ourselves whether there's no possibility to send in information that we retrieve from emails, so that we have that we can consolidate the log checking, that we just have all the benefit that SCOM offers to us, and also to connect a ticketing tool, for example, because just watching emails, it's not so efficient for daily work. So this wish was always there, especially because there are still a lot of critical components like air conditioners, UPSs, temperature measurement, water leaking, sensors, but also highly secured devices, or maybe some legacy stuff that does not provide any fancy API, but it just offers the possibility to send you an email once there's an issue or once there's something wrong. So there was always the wish to have SCOM there to give us information about it. Previously I found some articles from Bob where he created a combination with Scorch, with the System Center Operations Orchestration Manager, but we are not using that. We are not that big. There also I found some other solutions, but nothing fit our requirement. So then not long time ago, I just released the SCOM add-ons mail-in management pack, again, a custom and free and open source management pack that you can use. Again, it's been made with this authoring console. And how this management pack works, maybe just can introduce you very briefly here later. We can take a look on the source. Hope you find it interesting. So it uses a normal Windows SMTP service to receive the email. So any Windows server that has the SMTP service installed can be used for that one. So you do not need to have Exchange or whatever. Then there's one component is a rule for generic alerting. That means without any configuration in the management pack, you can just send emails. You can enter your SCOM servers or the Windows server's host name into as a recipient of the email, and then you just can send emails to there, and there will be an alert generated. But beside of that, then there's also the possibility to create objects. So there's a discovery job running, and also there are unit monitors targeting the objects that are created. And these objects are called mail items, or named them just mail items. And yeah, these objects which are generated, actually they're coming from an XML file. But let's take a look in a few seconds. So for the generic alerts, you can see them here just for a test. Again, once directly after any configuration is done, you can just send the email to SCOM or to the Windows server, which has an SMTP service installed, and SCOM will just create an alert, a warning. And you can overwrite it, you can make it a critical event if you like, or you just can close it, whatever, because it's a rule alert. Alternatively then, and I think also more interesting, you can use the XML file that I will show you in a minute, and to define some objects. So, and these objects actually, they are use a combination of criteria. For example, you define, okay, from whom is this email be sent? So the from field, and also which is the source server, and also perhaps which is the sending email address. And then it will, or the subject, and then it will combine at least two of these parameters to create an object in SCOM. So here you see the SCOM object. So it means if there's an email matching these criteria, that means coming from, what's it here, RFC Auto, for example, and if it was the source, if it's coming from the source server 001, then this alert will turn into red. So it will say, okay, something is wrong here. And so that you have something that you really can put this into a dashboard or something like that, that you have some visibility here on your alerts that coming in. Same is here too, maybe you saw something running in SAP, or maybe some other application monitoring tools. Maybe we saw previously that we can use SCOM for application performance monitoring, but perhaps there's some restrictions which are stopping you or preventing you from doing that. So you can use this approach just to bring in visibility. And yeah, we have two types of monitors actually. There's a timer reset and a manual reset monitor. Timer reset means that within the specific mail item in the XML file, you will define then after how much time this monitor should reset. The difficulty that I found with this management pack was, okay, how can I define the healthy state of this monitor? Because it turned out that these systems, they send an email when everything is wrong, when something is wrong, but there was not always the case that they will also send an email when everything is fine again. So this one was then the workaround solution, just to set a timer, say, okay, let's assume it's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then afterwards the monitor will reset it to healthy again. And alternatively, if you always, if you always want that some interaction is required, you can use then the manual type, and then really some SCOM operator really need to go to the monitor and just reset the monitor after the issue has been fixed. So you have two choices. Polling time. So if you've not done it yet, please let me know if you are interested in having email alerts in your SCOM environment, and if you think it makes sense it makes sense for you. Okay. Hope you had the time to send me a notification on that. Yeah. Thank you for the polling. Let's continue. Okay. Thank you so much for the participation on this poll. Let's close it again. Yeah, okay. Last slide deck, but still I would like to show, I can show you a little bit of the code behind. References, so where can you find the stuff that I just showed to you? So for the disk full troubleshooting assistant, the one that I has showed you at the beginning, there's a blog post on for sysops that you can just visit and then just find the script and everything else. For all the management pack, you can for all the management packs, they are free, they're open source, and you are feel free to use them and to enjoy them. You can find them in the management community catalog that is provided by Cookdawn, but it's yeah, free of charge, open source, and yeah, just feel free that you use it because it really integrates very nicely into the SCOM console. Good. Yeah. Let me say thank you at first before I show you around. Yeah, thank you again for all the sponsors and for having me here. It was nice to talk to you and yeah, very great initiative. But let me finish my slide deck with some code. Okay, so the ISE part you have already seen. So let's try to find the mail-in monitor part. So this is example the XML file that I mentioned previously for creating of these mail monitor items. And you see here that every mail monitor item need to have a unique title. So this is something that you define, but it's required because in SCOM, every object need to be unique to some point or need to be unique. So the title also will help you then to identify the object that you are that is alerting. You can maintain also a description that will be exposed in the SCOM object. And then you define, okay, from which is the sender. You can say, and either you define the sender email address, or you just define what you can see in the mail from a field. Then you can use the subject. You can use the body, but it's not must. And then you define, okay, what is the source server, and then the type. Either it's a manual created manually monitor that need to reset it manually, or a one that is be reset by the timer. So it's up to you, your choice. This is the XML file, and for the scripting part, let's see what we can see here. Okay, so first of all, we have here again the classes. This information also can be found. It's open source. You can see then the class definition that for the mail monitoring server, I mean the Windows server that has a SMTP service installed. I'm targeting a Windows computer. I'm finding this Windows computer actually with a few registry keys that you need to maintain. You need to set them by yourself to make sure that SCOM find this server that you intend to. And then these are the mail items that are then created, which are type of local applications. Then let's go to the discoveries. So there's the discovery for the monitoring server, which is then just a registry-based discovery, like I told a moment ago. And now I made my screen so big that I cannot show you everything. Okay, anyway, you see then in HK local machine, you would then have to create a new key within software called ABCIT, and then SCOM mail-in interface. And then there's another XML, another discovery job just for the XML file. This one just uses a PowerShell script to find these monitors. Yeah. Correct. So it scans the XML file and sends back then the information to the SCOM environment. And this is the first part. And then for the rule, again, it's working with PowerShell. It reads then the information. It receives the information that you also maintain within the registry where you define, okay, which is the directory for the emails. And it also it gives you the possibility to define an archive file for the emails that have been sent to your environment. And there's a lot of more to tell you about. but I did that. I spent the time and then to write down just the documentation for that. So I'm doing not often, but this time I did. So yeah, just use the MP catalog to find the management pack, and within the MP catalog you find also the link to the GitHub resources, and there you also find the documentation.